They say every town has one a house that kids whisper about, a place dared but never entered. For us, it was the Blackwood Manor, a skeletal silhouette against the bruised twilight sky. It stood on a hill overlooking our sleepy town, a relic of a bygone era, its windows like vacant eyes. The legend was simple and chillingly effective. The Blackwood family had vanished without a trace a century ago, and their home had been silent ever since. Silent, but not empty. My name is Leo, and I was the group's resident skeptic. Ghosts, malevolent spirits. I chalked it all up to creaky floorboards and overactive imaginations. So when my friends, Chloe, Sam and Maya, dared me to spend a night in the manor, I laughed it off. A night in an old, dusty house. Easy. We packed flashlights, sleeping bags, and a healthy dose of teenage arrogance, completely unaware that we were walking into a story that had been waiting for its final chapter. The front door groaned open with an unnerving ease, as if it had been expecting us. A wave of cold, stagnant air washed over us, thick with the scent of decay and something else. Something faintly sweet, like old perfume. Dust motes danced like fairies in our flashlight beams, illuminating a grand foyer frozen in time. A sweeping staircase coiled into the darkness above, and portraits of the Blackwood family lined the walls, their painted eyes seeming to follow our every move. See? Just an old house, I announced, my voice echoing a little too loudly in the oppressive silence. Sam nervously chuckled, his light darting into the shadowy corners. Maya, ever the sensitive one, hugged herself tightly. I don't like this, Leo. It feels wrong. Chloe, practical as always, just rolled her eyes. It's just creepy, that's all. Let's find a spot to set up camp. We chose the grand ballroom, a magnificent chandelier draped in a shroud of cobwebs, hung from the ceiling. A layer of dust coated the parquet floor like a fine layer of snow. We laid out our sleeping bags in a small circle, a tiny island of warmth in a vast, cold sea of darkness. For the first hour, we were just kids goofing around, telling jokes, trying to scare each other with sudden noises. But as the night deepened, a different kind of silence fell. A heavy, watchful silence. It started subtly, a faint whisper like a breath on the back of your neck. We'd all turn, flashlights scanning the darkness, only to find nothing. Did you guys hear that? Sam whispered, his eyes wide. I was about to dismiss it as the wind, but then we heard it again, clearer this time. A woman's voice humming a soft, sorrowful tune. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. A cold dread began to seep into my bones, chilling the smug skepticism right out of me. Then the piano in the corner of the ballroom began to play. One single, melancholic key, pressed down, held, and then released. We all froze. Our flashlight beams converged on the piano. The lid was closed, covered in a thick layer of undisturbed dust. But there was no one there. The key played again and again, a slow, deliberate rhythm that matched the frantic beating of my heart. Chloe, who had been so brave, let out a small whimper. That's when the doors to the ballroom slammed shut. All of them at once, with a deafening boom that shook the very floor. Panic erupted. We scrambled to our feet, yanking on the heavy brass handles. But they wouldn't budge. They were sealed as if by an unseen force. We were trapped. The humming grew louder, closer, and it was joined by another sound, the softer, rhythmic scrape of something being dragged across the floorboards in the hallway just outside. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. A stupid thing to do, I know, but terror makes you irrational. The scraping stopped. For a moment, there was absolute silence. Then, a little girl's giggle echoed from right behind us. We spun around, our lights cutting through the darkness, but there was nothing. Just our sleeping bags lying empty on the dusty floor. The temperature plummeted. We could see our own breath fogging in the air. Frost began to creep across the window panes, forming intricate, fern-like patterns. The humming was inside the room with us now, a constant, sorrowful presence that made the hair on our arms stand on end. And then we saw her. In the far corner of the room, a faint, shimmering outline began to form. It was a woman in a long, tattered gown, her back to us. Her form solidified, becoming more opaque, yet still translucent. We could see the wall through her ethereal body. She was the one humming. Slowly, agonizingly, she began to turn. We didn't want to see her face. Every instinct screamed at us to look away, but we were paralyzed, held captive by a fear so profound it was physical. Her face was a mask of eternal sadness, her eyes hollow pits of shadow. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Instead, the scraping from the hallway started again, louder, this time closer. It was coming from the floor above us. Scrape, drag, scrape, drag. The sound of something heavy being pulled across the old wood. Then the portraits in the foyer began to scream. Not a human scream, but a distorted, agonizing wail that tore through the silence, a chorus of spectral torment. The house itself seemed to come alive around us. The walls vibrated, the floorboards groaned, and the chandelier swayed violently, its crystals tinkling like a mad wind chime. We huddled together in the center of the room, a tight knot of pure terror. The woman's ghost drifted towards us, her feet not touching the floor. Her sorrowful eyes were fixed on us, and a single spectral tear rolled down her cheek. The little girl's giggle returned, this time from the top of the grand staircase, just outside the ballroom. It was a playful sound, but laced with a chilling ancient malice. Suddenly, a new sound joined the cacophony, a deep guttural growl that seemed to shake the foundations of the manor. It came from the shadows beneath the staircase. The scraping from upstairs stopped. The portraits fell silent. Even the woman's ghost froze, her form flickering. It was as if everything in the house was afraid of this new presence. Something was coming, something the other spirits feared. The growl intensified, and the air grew thick and heavy, charged with an energy that was not just sorrowful, but purely malevolent. This wasn't just a haunted house, it was a prison, and the warden had just woken up. With a final, desperate surge of adrenaline, Sam threw his entire body against the ballroom doors. There was a crack of splintering wood, and one of the doors burst open. We didn't hesitate. We scrambled out into the foyer, tripping over each other in our mad dash for the front door. The growl behind us became a furious roar. The air grew impossibly cold. I risked a single glance back. In the deep shadows under the stairs, 2 pinpricks of red light ignited like burning coals. They weren't eyes, they were hate given form. We burst out into the night, gasping the fresh, clean air. We didn't stop running until the Blackwood Manor was just a dark shape on the horizon. We never spoke of what happened that night, not in detail. How could we? How do you explain a sound that freezes your soul, or the sight of a weeping ghost, or the feeling of pure, undiluted evil? I'm not a skeptic anymore. I know that there are things in the dark corners of the world that defy explanation. The Blackwood Manor still stands on that hill, silent and waiting. Sometimes late at night, when the wind is just right, I think I can still hear a woman humming a sad old tune. The story of the Blackwood family may be over, but for us, the survivors of that night, the haunting has just begun. Thanks for watching. If you have your own stories of places you wish you'd never gone, share them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.